Hello everyone and welcome to the Yankee Victor 400 channel. In this video, an article by Jorge Zahia will be narrated. Through his personal experience, Jorge will explain the hobby of diecast aircraft model collecting to those unfamiliar with it. However, those of you already familiar with the hobby might also find the story entertaining and informative. Please enjoy.
Airplane model. To a lot of people, the term airplane model likely evokes a large replica of an aircraft, certainly larger than the small toy airplanes that are found in toy stores, airport gift stores, and the toy section of supermarkets, probably made out of wood, plastic, or resin, displayed on a desk using a stand or hanging from the ceiling, and usually found in travel agencies, the lobbies of airline office buildings and such. People might also think of those plastic model kits that are ubiquitous in hobby and toy stores worldwide and have to be assembled, painted, and decaled at home. But, unbeknownst to many people, there is another type of airplane replica out there that lies in between toy airplanes and desktop models/plastic kits, diecast aircraft models, sometimes referred to as precision aircraft models due to their particularly high level of precise detail. Part of the reason I believe diecast aircraft models largely go under the radar to those outside the hobby is because due to their small size, they can initially be indistinguishable from airplane toys to the untrained eye. And in fact, they can be considered the adult version of toy airplanes. I got my first few toy airplanes when I was very young, and one of the things I quickly realized was that they were not proportionally sized. Small airplanes, big airplanes, helicopters, cars, and airport service equipment were all roughly the same size, whereas in real life that was obviously not the case. The closest thing to current-day diecast aircraft are the models made by the German brands Schaback and Herpa in the 1980s and 1990s. These models were scaled, Schabacks were 1 in 600, while Herpas were 1 in 500. The reference scales took care of the proportion problems found in toys that I described. Herpa also made cars and airport accessories in 1 in 500 scale, tiny stuff, but again, cars are meant to be minuscule next to an airliner. While early Schaback and Herpa models were considerably more accurately shaped and detailed than toys, they did retain some traces of the latter. For example, their landing gears, though more refined than those found in toys, were still a bit chunky, apparently because those brands felt that wheels needed to roll, like in toys. Eventually, the rolling capability of landing gears disappeared in favor of size and accuracy, though in recent years technological advancements have brought back this capability in some models, without sacrificing accuracy. Most early die-cast aircraft models also did not come with a stand hole in the belly, likely because they were still seen as an evolution of toys, which were meant to be rolled on surfaces, and not desktop models, which were meant to be displayed using a stand. This is probably the reason why, inversely, desktop models did not usually come with landing gears in those years. In the mid-1990s, a new scale of die-cast aircraft models appeared, 1 to 400, which is the most popular scale today. The first 1 to 400 models seem to have been produced by a brand from Hong Kong called Dragon Wings. Many of the early models made by Dragon Wings were produced for the Japanese company Hasegawa, which is a well-known plastic kit brand that at the time seemed to have been venturing into the pre-built die-cast airplane model market. In the late 1990s, a number of brands from the US entered the 1 to 400 scene and the hobby started to grow exponentially. Today, most manufacturers are either US or China-based, with Herpa still based in Germany. Most models are now manufactured in China regardless of where the brand is headquartered.
Popular scales and model brands of today. Today the most common scales of die-cast aircraft models in order of popularity are 1 in 400, 1 in 200 and 1 in 500. The boundaries between small toy airplanes and large desktop models have blurred further as not only nearly all die-cast models today come with a stand hole, regardless of how small they are, but also many larger scale desktop models, usually the plastic snap-fit variety, now come with landing gears. Herpa continues to be the main brand in the now small 1 in 500 scale market. In the 1 in 400 scale world we have Gemini jets, NG models, Aero Classics, Phoenix models, JC Wings as well as other smaller China-based brands. Inflight 200 is a brand that specializes in 1 in 200 scale, though all other brands I mentioned also produce, or have produced, 1 in 200 scale models.
How is the hobby enjoyed? The level of detail and accuracy of die-cast aircraft models is what really sets them apart. Large models have traditionally been used as a promotional tool for airlines, aerospace companies, etc., and a lot of intricate details are not necessary for that purpose. On the contrary, die-cast models, as previously stated, seem to have been born out of the need and desire to produce more accurate versions of small toy airplanes. The first step was to refine the proportions and settle on reference scales, but progress has continued and the level of detail we see today is breathtaking, and it is the basis for many of the ways in which collectors enjoy these tiny but highly detailed aircraft replicas. The most basic way to enjoy the hobby is by simply purchasing a model and admiring its level of detail, or simply enjoying having a tiny model of your favorite aircraft, or favorite airline. Many collectors also display these models in cabinets and shelves. While the aircraft themselves are generally not large enough to be appreciated from a distance, like desktop models are, large collections do look impressive as a whole. Also, most collectors tend to display only models of the same scale together, which offers a unique opportunity to see the relative size of some of the larger aircraft types compared to some of the smallest, something that is not always so easy to appreciate at airports. Taking photos of models and sharing them on social media or online forums so that they can be discussed among other collectors is also a very common practice. There is a link to an article in the description of this video for more information on this topic. Because of the small size of these models, and the availability of airport equipment in the same scales, they are perfect for use in dioramas to create some outstanding scenes. Due to the high level of detail of these models, another common way to enjoy the hobby is by comparing them with the real aircraft they represent, to see how accurate they really are. Our model review section at yankeevictor400.com is an example of this. Researching the history behind the aircraft represented by a particular model is also popular among collectors. The latter is generally done with models of classic airliners. The airline history blog at yesterdaysairlines.com is a great example of it.
Where can these models be purchased? Traditionally, die-cast aircraft models could be found at hobby stores that also carried other miniature collector items such as trains and plastic model kits. They could also be found at pilot supplies and aviation stores. There are also some specialized stores that only sell die-cast aircraft models, usually found in the major metropolitan areas of the world. While models can still be found today at some of those places, it is becoming harder and harder to find them in physical stores, and most models are sold via online stores in many countries. The average cost of a 1 to 400 scale model is approximately $50, while 1 to 200 scale models command an average price of about $130.
Because these models are released in limited edition runs and there are no guarantees that they will be re-released, though many are, there is a large second-hand market in which sold-out models are resold, auctioned, and traded. eBay is one of the most popular sources of second-hand models, and some of the more sought-after ones can sell for many times their original price via auctions.
There are also aviation collectibles shows, where collectors gather up to sell, trade, and buy any type of aviation memorabilia. These shows are an excellent place to find all kinds of airplane models, old and new, big and small, cheap and expensive.
Customization. Some collectors customize models because a particular model they want is so unpopular that it is unlikely to be mass-produced by a manufacturer, or the model is sold out and too hard to find, etc. Customization consists of removing the livery of a given model and then reapplying the livery of a different airline to it, using techniques similar to those used in the building of plastic model kits. Some brands sell blank die-cast models which make the customization process easier.
With the advent of 3D printing, we are starting to see models in the smaller scales in which die-cast aircraft are typically produced, as well as ground service equipment and other airport items, built from scratch at home.
Wrapping up. There is much more to the hobby of die-cast aircraft model collecting than what I have exposed here, but hopefully after watching this video, the next time you see grown-ups posting pictures of little airplanes on the internet, you will know what it is all about. Though comparable in size to toy airplanes, these little models wouldn't last more than a few minutes, or seconds, unharmed in the hands of a kid. Much like any other group of aficionados or geeks, aviation enthusiasts are fascinated by their common interest, in this case, aircraft. Collecting miniature replicas of these awesome flying machines that we love so much is one of the most rewarding aviation-related hobbies that we aircraft lovers can engage in.
Thank you for watching the video. If you like this kind of content, please let us know by liking and subscribing. Also, follow Yankee Victor 400 on Facebook and Instagram with the links in the description. And don't forget to visit our site at www.yankeevictor400.com.